either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Yippie Ki Yay, motherfuckers! It's Christmas Eve. Thank you for listening to us on this festive holiday.
The most festive.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, the Weird podcast. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
And if you haven't guessed it, on this most amazing timing of our episode and holidays,
Truly.
we are doing 1988's Die Hard.
The most debated Christmas film of all time, one might say.
Yeah, where some have come out saying it's not a Christmas movie. People who have been involved in the movie saying it's not a Christmas movie, whereas others saying it 100% was always intended to be a Christmas movie.
It is truly divided lines all the way to the top.
I have some thoughts on that. I have some theories that I've developed in my re-watch of this amazing classic.
I was so happy that we finally get to dig into this movie, because this one's a classic on my list. I do watch this movie every year. Partially because A, hilarious that this is a Christmas film, and B, it's a good action film. So getting to go through, nitpick the scenes, really listen to the director commentary, which was long and a little grueling, worth it.
Very much so. So Die Hard is based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe, with screenplay by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza, directed by John McTiernan, starring Bruce Willis as John McClane.
Absolutely.
Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Guerrero.
Briefly in the movie,
McClane. Yeah. Reginald Vell Johnson as Sergeant Alt Powell. And the film debut of, at the time, a 44-year-old, so always keep chasing your dreams, Alan Rickman as the cold and amazing villain, Hans Gruber.
Truly. The greatest way to start your movie career. It should be noted that while this is Alan Rickman's big breakout movie for sure, he was not completely unheard of. He had done TV and a lot of stage work, and stages where he was originally picked up for this movie. Yeah,
but before we get into it, our sources for today's episode include commentary by director John McTiernan and production designer Jackson Degovia and Richard Edelund, as well as I have some supplementary information from They Shouldn't Have Killed His Dog, the complete uncensored kick-ass oral history of John Wick, Gun Fu in the New Age of Action.
Beautiful.
And before we even really get into the review, I do want to address the elephant in the room, because yes, there are plenty of out there who do not think Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Sure.
And to that, I do actually think they have a lot of valid points.
I mean, I get it. It's not very Christmassy in most of its themes.
But I think it's more Christmas movie than they like to give it credit for.
Oh.
But I also think there's a happy medium in between.
Sure.
Upon rewatching Die Hard, my initial thoughts is oh, this is a Christmas drama movie that gets taken hostage by a heist movie.
Yes.
And I'll explain more as I go through the movie, because there's a couple things I picked up along the way. And I do want to establish, once again, our definition of a Christmas movie, because it has been a while since we last talked about that definition.
True, and we are more than happy to bend it to get a movie in December.
Sometimes. But it has to be based around the season. So whether it's actually Christmas or
New Year's-ish.
Yeah, around that time frame.
Or just winter in Canada. That counts to me.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But it has to be about bringing people together, be it family, be it friends. It's just about bringing people together.
And most importantly, is it something a bit of a tradition for some people to watch? That's kind of, we don't talk about it, but yeah, if you're the only person watching that movie at Christmas, might be a Christmas classic for you, but we probably would disagree.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, Chris, what are we drinking today?
We have apple-flavored Fireball with Coke.
Yeah, because it's kind of festive-y, and I forgot to buy the Jack Daniels spiced.
Yeah, close enough.
So, cheers.
Cheers. It's always good, just like Die Hard.
Always. So, Die Hard. I like that the intro is a little bit... It feels a little dated, just because...
Well...
It is 1988, and we are in the year of 2025.
And also 1988, the year of action movies. So, It's gonna look like a 1980s film.
Yeah, landing in LA. The air. I like that it feels like the air travel is still a little bit of a luxury because this guy hasn't obviously never flown initially.
True.
But I like how they really set him up as this average Joe, and we're talking about John McClane before we even get into his introduced who he is. But we immediately know he's married. He's a cop.
Mm-hmm.
And he has kids, so he's obviously there for the holidays.
Yes.
And also, smoking in the airport, completely different time.
Well, it's the 80s. We smoked everywhere.
And it tells you to have a happy Christmas.
That's true. Verbally, they remind us that it's Christmas multiple times in this film, which I do find hilarious. Mostly because there's mostly rumor from the director himself that there was meant to be Christmas lights on the palm trees in the background. And,
yeah, well,
he nicked that idea.
Yeah, there was going to be a shot of like that when he was driving to the party.
Yeah, so like really emphasize the LA style Christmas. I kind of like that they don't though. It's LA.
Yeah, it makes it less of an obnoxious Christmas movie. You know, when it's overly Christmas for what really is out there.
True. Oh, true.
Because we go from this introduction to this kind of nervous, who knows what's going on with this cop.
True.
To a fancy Christmas party, and you can tell it is upper end immediately from the interior finishes that they have going on in the office.
I love them.
I do too.
Love the architecture of this movie.
I do too, and I want to go into it a little bit more when we get further on.
True, gotcha.
But I do like that part of the charm of this movie also feeling dated is this Christmas party.
This Christmas party would never happen today.
Yeah. Well, you got the one guy who's like just hitting on absolutely every single woman. It's
mess.
It's that typical like movie Christmas party where it's like way over the top and like HR would have a field day.
The only reason I think that it gets away with being as cheesy as it is because it is not overly Christmasly decorated, on top of being the most cheesy Christmas party to have ever happened.
Yes.
Like, it ticks all the Christmas boxes. You have your annoying, overly drunk guy there. Everyone's just kind of standing in, like, groups of 2 to 3 chit-chatting, and it's clear that, like, no one's really, like, hitting it off. We're just here because we're supposed to be here.
Yeah, people are going to back offices to screw. Some are doing lines off the desk.
There's, like,
Christmas.
There's, like, the required, drinks and charcuterie board thing. It's 80s, so probably cookies and cheese. Not, like, charcuterie treats, like melted cheese in a cup. But there's also no one's wearing, like, the obnoxious Santa hat on top of all that. No one's wearing the over-the-top light-up Christmas sweater and all of this. Yeah. It feels like maybe this Christmas party is for an office that thinks themselves very classy.
Well, so when it's set up is it's right after, because that's part of it when we're introduced to McClane's wife, is she's still working and she tells her assistant or secretary to, hey, or underling to, hey, go, it's 4:30, go enjoy the party.
Exactly.
So it's right after the end of a business day, so they don't have time to ham it up like we would want to see.
Oh, and it's the 80s, and again, she's meant to have, like, an actual serious job, whereas he's a cop, and it's a little bit of, like, you're a cop, the detective smokes too much and sleeps on his couch. Yeah. And she has, like, a nice job where people won't even wear ugly Christmas sweaters all day at their office.
Yeah, they have some level of class.
It's not, I mean, the facade's breaking, but everyone looks nice.
Yeah. Well, and it also shows that they're doing very well when they cut to their residence where they have a housekeeper setting up the separation and why he's flying in. It's still hopeful, but she puts down the photo, which I like these little details on rewatching of how all these like little things add up and come into play.
There's a lot more emotional connection, I think, in this movie than most people remember. Because, let's not lie, the action second half of this film is so good that you kind of do forget about all of the little build-up moments that the first half, very Christmas style, kind of leans into. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying this movie is a Christmas drama that gets hijacked by a heist movie.
By terrorists in a building?
Yes, yeah, exactly. But even then, like, we were starting to see that, okay, maybe their marriage isn't happy, and then it also contrasts with him watching a couple in an airport, and it's also kind of sad because he's picked up instead of like her being there to greet him.
Yeah.
It's the company, not even just she sends someone, the company sends Argyle with a limo to pick him up.
Yeah, they send a dude.
And here's the thing that they do that's a great job with making McClane a very humble, down-to-earth guy, is that Argyle is fun.
He is.
But McClane's not being driven around. He's up there with him. And
yeah.
It's
a nice touch. He's not in the back seat.
Yeah, he's not some corporate executive who doesn't want to talk to the guy who's basically doing this company a favor, or he's getting paid for it, but still.
But it's an easy way to have your character seem like he sees himself as the working man, as opposed to being, oh well, I get driven around all the time. I think the director in one of the commentaries even mentioned that he's like, no, this character would be uncomfortably be driven by other people. He's probably been driven a total of 2 or 3 times his whole life.
Well, and it's also used narratively as a way to get us as an audience up to date, because we are Argyle. It's them shooting the shit of like, well, why are you in town? Like,
and it's a great premise for it too, because it's the 80s, and yeah, a taxi-ish style ride is a pretty good way to have that quick, small, chatty sort of situation, especially around a holiday theme movie. You know, why are you in town's a pretty standard question, but it gets the audience caught up to speed without it feeling like we're telling someone who already should know this stuff.
Exactly. It doesn't have that exposition moment. It's done through natural conversation.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of the only natural conversation we get in this movie, so you kind of have to savor the first couple of scenes. Because once we get going...
There's a lot of natural conversations, I'd say.
Via walkie-talkie is not the same.
I think it feels natural for the movie.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And if you forgot this is a Christmas movie, even the rap music is Christmas rap.
I appreciate that. That is fun.
And this is the part where they they scrap the idea to have the line of palm trees in the transition, which honestly, especially with looking back at where they would have put that in,
it would have been a little weird.
It would have been a little too much on top of the Christmas rap music.
I agree, especially because let's be real, LA is not the standard location for a Christmas film.
No.
So I have no preconceived notions of what an LA Christmas must look like for it to be Christmas time.
Sunny and
it's the beach, right?
Depending on the Christmas rom-coms you watch, there are a few out in California, and it is always sunny and kind of tropical-ish.
Yeah, just vaguely tropical, and it's for a movie like Die Hard, where from the beginning, the cover of the DVD, even if you watched no trailers, you kind of know what you're getting, right? You're not being fooled into some action movie when you thought you were going to get a romance, right?
Yeah.
So I have no expectation for a light up snowman plugged into someone's front yard, right?
Which is why it's so easy to forget that this movie is technically, by all our definition, a Christmas movie.
And I think it works because, honestly, the thing that makes a lot of other movies that are similar to Die Hard feel more Christmassy than they actually are is because they're just located in New York City, where it snows, or Colorado, where it snows, or Canada, again, where it snows.
Yeah, it doesn't feel wintry.
Exactly, but that's just because it's LA, and their winter is maybe 60 degrees.
Very much so.
So cold.
So cold. Colder, well, I was going to bring the British winter, but that's a whole other topic.
No, we don't have time.
But the other thing that it keeps building is the distance between McClane and his wife.
True.
Where we get to the building where it's this modern and sleek building, just showing that distance and showing that McClane's out of place constantly, and that he is from a different kind of life compared to where his wife has gone.
True. It is a beautifully 80s building as well.
I love it. Yeah. Well, and all of this through not even seeing his life before this. We're all...
True. We don't really get any back stuff. We just kind of get thrown into it. And I'm okay with it.
Well, I think it's because he's also not dressed up like everyone else that we'll see later on.
Yeah, and also I do think this movie, especially for the first half where we're establishing John's character, it helps that this movie is coming out in 88 and really riding the backs of a lot of detective-based shows that were popular in the 80s.
Well, it's not just that. They bring it up in They Shouldn't Have Killed His Dog, where up until this point, because we're writing I think we're in the middle or the tail end of the big V cinema boom, home videos.
Oh yeah.
Where the action movies of the time, there wasn't this average Joe action hero.
No, they were always a super dude.
And or had some type of military background. And Die Hard, even though he is a cop, he has some kind of training. He is, to us, an average Joe fighting these astronomical odds. And that's why it's so important to have this setup of him just being this average Joe and distancing him from the rest of this world that he's about to get into.
And this is where Bruce Willis being picked for this role actually makes so much more sense than I think people, especially now, realize. Because Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were both considered for this role.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been a classic fit. They both had done lots of 80s action movies. They had both portrayed the big guy, the big hero. But at this point, Bruce Willis, while he had done a small handful of movies, he'd mostly done TV work before this. And so he was much more familiar with the TV style of having the guy who is just kind of an average Joe. Yes, he works as a detective on the police force, but all he really does is chain smoke and talk to people. He's not a superhero sort of detective. He's just your average Joe who solves crimes. And it's a good twist.
Yeah, a little bit. And I mean, we're talking a New York cop in the 80s. It wasn't exactly...
No, it's not modern. Think Columbo.
Not even that. Like, when we talked about Vampire's Kiss.
True.
That New York of the 80s was considered a hyper-dangerous place.
Yes.
So, like, there's a lot of other connotations that you have to a little bit understand with going into why he's the way he is. He's a relic of the time. Truly like conglomeration of every piece of media thrown together at once. Yes. Well, and also in showing the distance, we see that she's kept her maiden name, so obviously life isn't going as well as he was wanting it to be, or as it's already not looking good, and he's just shown up and he hasn't even seen her yet.
True.
And also, like, him just scouting the area like a cop too is just like he's already on edge, so of course he's gonna look for like the routes out, where's the security at.
True.
And also I do like once he gets up to that party, it's really that fish out of water moment because he takes one sip of whatever they're drinking and sets it down.
Not a fan of whatever punch it is.
Or champagne. I think it's supposed to be champagne.
That would have been the correct joke for the time period for sure.
Yeah, but now that we've seen a good chunk of the building,
I love this building.
I do like what they're trying to do with this. The original idea was this interior is like they took over Falling Waters by Frank Lloyd Wright. I
see it, and now I cannot unsee it.
Exactly, and also with some of the Japanese stone elements, as well as we have the modern precast concrete walls in the back that was inspired by the works of Tado Ando.
I love it.
That Ibaraki Kasugako church is...
Oh, I know, right? Oh, and then, yes, They talk about how, and a lot of very poignant fans have pointed out that the building's interior layout doesn't truly make sense throughout the entirety of the film. I don't care. I don't care that the actual layout of this building doesn't work, because it feels like every other weird 80s building where it has one section that is for some reason unnecessarily overly either Frank Lloyd Wrighted or Japanese styled, or has some weird Italian influence, and it's just one part of the building.
Well, and this movie cleverly hides a good chunk of it too, especially this main area.
Yeah.
And that's because, and also even in the lobby desk, it's intended to be the outer walls of the Japanese battlements.
Yeah.
So they've done a lot of little intricate stuff there, and part of the reason, and something that I wasn't aware of, is that they thought of it being a disassembly of one of America's great architects.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And to be reassembled as a trophy because Japan was buying up American offices around that time too. So there's a little bit of that cultural reference that most people aren't going to notice or even try and pay attention to.
But even if you don't notice it, it does start to put some preconceived notions in your mind for who owns this sort of building, who would be in charge of having their Christmas party in essentially a moved Frank Lloyd Wright house then put into a skyscraper, right?
Yeah, it's the continuation of the Japanese imperialism of pre-World War II, with also the detailing of the logo for being based on a samurai helmet, and they wanted it to feel dangerous to show that Trouble was going to play, also playing with something they thought they would see from one of the war banners from a Kurosawa film. So
yeah, very clever.
Yeah, it's a lot of like little intricate things that they've added into the movie that
Mm-hmm.
really makes the Nakatomi Corporation feel a little bit
evil.
A little bit evil.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
From the get-go, it's the vibe of that overbearing presence, and then that weird, that feeling of, oh, you can't have it, it's ours.
Yes.
And it really also contrasts the outside of the building, which is so tall, so much 80s styled glass and concrete, and then we come inside and it's clear that someone had like a different design plan than the outside of the building, which part of the reason was because this beautiful set is a set. It's not actually in the building.
Mm-hmm.
They built this whole thing to have this one shot.
Yeah, well, in a lot of it, they use it's one of the Fox buildings in LA.
Which is another great idea, because then you get this sense, as the movie progresses, of such incomplete and unused space.
Yeah, sorry, not unused, in construction still.
Yes, which, hilarious that they were allowed in construction to use. Because I guess they were told, please do not damage the building. And this movie, we've already gotten quite a little ways in, right? Like, we've introduced most of our main players. We're just missing one. We're just missing our main villain. And by this point, they still didn't have a solid plot written down. They kind of had, like, a vague idea, but there was no, like, day-by-day ideas. They were like, the inspiration will hit us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other fascinating thing is, like, when they started filming this movie, they had no clue where the movie was going to end.
And to the extent of, they weren't even really sure what stunts they were going to include. So, being allowed to film in an unfinished building, and then just being asked very politely, like, hey, can you not wreck our building? Very bold move for someone with no game plan and a lot of flares at his disposal.
But I do like the way her boss greets him.
Yeah.
It feels very... it feels like he's very welcoming and inviting, where he's like, I've heard so much about you. It's like, the limo is the least we could do, showing that, like, how... But it also, at the same time, makes it awkward for him, because it's kind of him bragging about, your wife's doing so well.
Yes.
It's almost like an unintentional slap in the face of, he's already seen she's using her maiden name.
Well, and on top of that, it's one of those interactions where it's overly clear that John is not comfortable here, right? Like, he's not socially mingling with anyone. He does not fit in, like, looks-wise with anyone, and not even in a, oh, I didn't know this was an ugly Christmas sweater party. Just in a, like, I'm not wearing nice clothes that you guys clearly wear every day.
Mm-hmm.
He's not partaking in the food, and this boss guy, instead of being like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're not comfortable, would you like to go to the hotel and change, or just go get dinner? He's just like, oh, look at everything that your wife is doing.
Yeah.
Isn't this great for me?
But it's also kind of showing McClane as a bit of a sourpuss of, like...
Which helps, though, because you need a reason to understand why the marriage isn't working.
Yeah, and it's justifiable that, like, McClane might be a little bit of an asshole, and he's pretty much at fault for a good chunk of this, too, of, like...
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's important to have that actually spelled out in the movie, as opposed to later roles that Bruce Willis plays, where he does get typecast. He does play kind of the same guy for a handful of years.
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 of these movies, and
there is.
And don't come at me. I've only seen the first one. I have not gotten to the other ones.
I refuse to rewatch them. So, but just in general, Bruce Willis, up until, honestly, a little bit more recently, played a lot of the same roles over and over again. Not necessarily a bad thing. He's good at it. But it means that his later roles, when there's not the dialogue or the writing to have that interaction to prove that, like, he's a bad dad or a bad brother or a terrible son, you don't need it, because you're like, well, of course, it's the Bruce Willis character. I don't need that.
Well, it's like we talked about in Jack Frost, which...
that movie.
Like, that's the thing, is, like, you have to have the dad be a little bit unlikable in one regard or another.
If you're gonna have that Christmas magic.
Yeah, like in Santa Claus, which I just rewatched last week.
Yes.
I forget how much of an
ass
ass
he is.
Yeah,
he's terrible.
Even while he's being Santa, he's still kind of an ass, but he's a fun ass at that point.
He is a fun ass, and that's kind of the line that I think a lot of these Christmas movies try to make. And again, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that, again, like we talked about with Jack Frost episode, it's just good to have your dad character be a little bit too much of a dick, but not unredeemable.
Yeah, because like there's the part where when we get introduced to Ellis, who's doing a line off of his wife's desk, and he's just like, "You miss some," instead of like,
exactly.
Yeah, he's off duty, so he's not going to be a total asshole. So like it's that little balancing of like he knows he's there, he's trying not to make a bad impression, even though he's not in a good mood.
Exactly, and it balances out that like he can be chill and a like cool-ish guy with the fact that he also like clearly does not actually know much about his wife, because the boss is like showing him around, telling him about how great his wife is, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware."
Well, that's part of it too. Even if we were talking about like, oh, they could have sent letters. This is also the 80s, so like telephones were more of a way to communicate, and
it was pretty common for every house to have a phone.
But you got to remember, long distance calls were super expensive.
They would have been, but they also wouldn't have been that unheard of.
But they're they're too expensive for him. For him,
not for her.
Exactly. But that's also where we're getting into. It's a little bit of both of their faults of the breakdown of communication.
Absolutely.
But I do like that he is, like, the moment they're reunited, there is that little spark of, like...
True. It was at one point good.
Yeah, that little happiness, and it's spoiled by Ellis showing off and being a dickhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way this movie is paced and what they build up to from this, and then, like, okay, we've had this sweet moment. Well, now it's darker. There's a truck showing up that's foreshadowing that trouble's on the corner.
Mm-hmm. It is a little bit of a spooky truck.
Yeah, it's the first inkling that this movie up until now has been basically a family drama is going to have a little bit of a twist to it.
True, but we still, I mean, granted, again, if you saw the front cover of the DVD when you checked it at Blockbuster, you kind of had an idea of what was happening for this film. But you could have potentially been surprised by this big twist.
Oh, very much so. But I think what's interesting is that McTiernan didn't agree to do this until some joy was added to the movie.
Yeah.
And he wanted the meanness removed from the terrorists, because the original plot is a group of terrorists.
Which is honestly, a better ploy to have it be a double fake. Where, like, you think it's just the terrorists, but no. 'Tis another man behind the curtain.
Yeah, well...
It's more fun.
Yeah, he makes it a robbery because people can have fun without it without getting too dark, because
exactly,
terrorist movies get very serious. This, like, Home Alone is about home invasion.
Which, again, is another Christmas topic that keeps coming back up.
Yeah. Yeah, because they do, in the Santa Claus, they do blame him for breaking in. I mean, not Christmassy, but around the same time, I watched Rudolph's New Year's Adventure, or Sparkling New Year's.
Sparkling New Year's,
And they're just kind of breaking into houses, like, looking through windows and stuff.
The claymation Santa also, like, legitimately just has him breaking into places, and breaking out of jail.
Well, breaking in because they want him to break in.
Well, yes. Well, except the Burgermeister.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, still breaking and entering, and it's implied that, like, Tim Allen is breaking and entering as well.
Yeah, there's a scene with the dog and everything.
And then, if you count it as a Christmas movie, Jack Frost definitely break-ins and enters under the disguise of Santa, leaving children terrifying toys.
Yeah, or you mean Jack Skellington?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't gotten into the Jack Frost one yet, but yeah,
sorry,
Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before
No, Jack
Christmas.
Frost I do not think break-ins or enters at all. I think it's, like, almost all outside.
I have no clue. But I do like when we get back to McClane and his lady, is that we're finding out that, hey, this is last minute plans.
True.
To the point where, like, he was just planning to crash with a retired friend, showing that while he's there making some effort, he's still trying to keep that distance. And she's like, but the kid, I have a spare room, it's not big, but the kids would be happy for you to be there.
True, but it also feels a little awkward, like maybe we could have talked about this before?
Well, that's the thing, it's last minute, she's been so busy up until this time.
Sure.
But what I think is, what's great in the writing of this scene is that things are going really well until they're interrupted, and that natural flow of conversation turns into an argument. And it sours real quickly to the point where they can't even finish their conversation. And it just leaves that lingering emotional chord that carries on through the rest of the movie of him trying to get back to her to be that hero to save the day. He's the one that needs to be there. Otherwise, if he hadn't come, they would have been screwed.
That's true. And also it does leave a hope in the audience's like mind of like maybe they could be good together, you know?
Yeah, there's that little bits of like every couple fights, but this is those happy moments that are there, that there's still that inkling that
True.
they could have something.
Oh, true.
And then now, after that, once it sours, it is fully dark. And this is when the uninvited guests show up.
'Tis time for the action to begin.
Yeah, I love this invasion because it is so cold, casual, obviously rehearsed and meticulous in everything they do. Even the music in the background is a dark tale on what we call, I can't remember if the song is actually a Christmas song, or it's just associated with Christmas around that time. It's like, what, Ode to Joy?
Christmas song.
Yeah, okay. I don't know a lot about the history of that song, so
it's too long for this episode, I'll tell you that.
But also, like, that entrance of Hans Gruber is just
also
cold.
Hans is the funniest name they could have picked.
Gruber
is also a terrible name, and I love that they went full. They were like, you know what? Yeah, it's bad. Let's just go in full ham on the stupidity of some of these characters.
Yeah, there are some things that I find really funny about this movie, especially going back and when it was shot. All the guys around him. We have Alan Rickman.
Yep.
And then we have all these Fabio-looking male models.
I'm so glad that you also called them Fabio.
Yeah.
Because every time I see them, I go, why are there Fabios here?
Well, that was because they thought it would be a funny idea to have, like, the heavies be these masculine, beautiful men instead of, like...
It is funny. They're right. It's hilarious. It's my favorite joke.
And then they have the one guy who looks like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, what is he doing here? Is he, like, the actual murderer and everyone else is just here for the gig?
He looks way too close to Dahmer for comfort.
And granted, this is 1988. I don't know if they really like picked him for that specifically, but the Fabio joke was definitely directly pointed at Fabio.
Very much so. But I also like that the way they make it European, if it makes it the fast and efficient business transaction, makes well for a German bad guy. But I find the reasoning behind making them German a little weird.
I mean, it's the 80s.
Well, I do understand to a point, but the reason I find it weird is they chose Germany to make it neutral.
We were already really good at making the Germans the bad guys in American movies.
Yeah, but
it's the 80s.
I know.
It's kind of like our main villain was German people, and if they weren't German, they were Russian
or Asian, Japanese.
But this is late 80s, so we were trying to maybe like dial the Japanese bad guy down a little bit in Hollywood, because we were like, I think we've gone a bit too far, but not the Germans. We can keep going.
Yeah, but I think it's still it's such a weird time for that to also be the thing, because we're still at that time we're dealing with the ramifications of the Berlin Wall in West Germany. I mean, West Germany at this time was dealing with the Red Army faction terrorist attack, so like there's a lot of other stuff going on of like, let's make the bad guys quote-unquote neutral. Make them from all other different countries. Make them fucking English. Make them Italian.
English bad guys would have been very funny.
Yeah.
But a completely different vibe.
Yeah. I mean, there's some
we can't do Italian.
Yeah, we can.
We're in Los Angeles. We'd have to relocate the movie.
Yeah. To New York.
Which would make it the most Christmassy heist film. Because then it would just have been snowing the whole time. It could have been almost the same movie, honestly.
You know, that's actually one thing I think that makes this interesting, is because of it being a Christmas movie and there is being no snow, that it gives it that different vibe already from the get-go.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I agree. And while I do stand on the fact that I do think that having it set in LA and him from New York makes the movie what it is, if you're a light watcher, I don't know if necessarily changing cities would have been that big a deal.
No.
But at the same time, it's by this point, I can't argue with it. The logic is pretty sound, and yeah, it's a little silly to have the Germans suddenly be the bad guys, but first off, the Fabio joke is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're gonna run with like an easy out bad guy, this is a good way to do it. Because it's cliche enough that the audience is ready for it. So the like not terribly like pointed joke, but still silly.
Yeah.
Feels like enough of a lighthearted gag that once it continues for the whole movie, it's not the worst.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're going with that, with them being neutral, because they've been the bad guys for so long, so of course they're going to be the bad guys again.
And unfortunately, you have to remember that the Fabio joke isn't a one-time gag. Literally every time these men are on screen until the end of the film, they all look like this.
Their hair is so silky, so
it's
smooth.
A L'Oreal commercial. And the entire Fabio gang is not dead until almost 30 minutes before the end of the film, I think. Maybe even closer to the end.
No, that one of them lasts until like the very last.
Yes,
2
there's
minutes.
like one dude left
Yeah.
with his Fabio hair running around. So like you have to be happy enough with that decision as a writer and a director to be like, yeah, we're gonna have one Fabio running through the whole movie as a joke.
Very much so.
This is kind of the only way to do that and have the movie make it as long as it has without people being like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is kind of the only way to do that.
Yeah. Well, also in the writing of this movie, I think that when it gets back to McClane and taking the advice from the airplane to take off his shoes and socks and just scrunch his toes in the carpet, that is such a great way to, like, it's such a slight thing to bring it in, but also sets up the danger for him in a few minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I also like that the movie does constantly remind us that Argyle is also trapped in here.
Oh, yes, that's right.
He is not paying attention to anything.
No, he's not, and I live for that. Good for him.
Yeah, but it also is that little bit of hope because, like, he calls down to him and he's like, you might be able to drive us home. It might be good.
Yeah.
So there's that little hope that even though they just had this fight, he is still trying to put something forward to win, to get her back.
Exactly.
And even, like, their big entrance and the gunshots are cold and businesslike, like it's meticulous again.
Oh, yes.
But I like that while this is happening, John is right into action mode. A brief look at the egress to, get his surroundings. And then I like that the reason he's even able to get away, tits.
That's a good reason.
Because they open up one of the doors and there's a couple on one of the desks, and the guys who are searching the rooms, one of them kind of goes back for a little bit to watch.
And just spends a little too long searching the room.
Yeah, which gives McClane the chance to escape. It's like, it's such a fun little bit that...
Without being overly jokey either. Like, the way, like, when you say it like that, it sounds so silly.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it's a tiny bit humorous, but it's not a full... like, haha moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But it is also, like, it is showing with McClane's character while he's escaping that he knows he's not any good help, and that he also doesn't trust even the janitorial staff.
Can't do it.
Because, honestly, he only knows one person in this. Like, he's met Takagi, but that's about it.
Yeah, he's got a good point.
And also, I do kind of want to talk about, like, while this is under construction, that temporary desk they are using is in such a dumb location because they already have the framing in place. And on top of that, like, I know that's made with, like, 2x4s and whatnot, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's also in a closed-off room instead of, like, being at the entrance of the construction site.
Where it would make sense.
Yeah, to easily get it in and out of, like, instead of, like, having to tear it down and build up a new construction desk every single time you go to a site.
They didn't say the man they hired to build this building was a smart one. They just hired him.
No, not at all. Like, I get why it's there. It's just a dumb fun moment for, like, us watching it in the architecture field to be like, that's a really dumb placement for that. That is in the way of everything.
Yeah, and okay, watching this film with architecture background, you do kind of feel like Bruce Willis's character when he walks in and immediately starts doing work, looking for exits, looking for, lines of sight.
Trying to get on a phone.
We watch this film and go, so that's what they used. Interesting choice.
Yeah, very interesting choice. I mean, they've still got, like, mugs on the desk and everything.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of background stuff that I think the average watcher just chalks up to in construction. And we chalk up to, so they were in the middle of drywalling when they did this scene, huh?
And even some other parts down the line, because I'll get into some of the office design questions that I've got. Or not questions, but observations I have.
Yes. There's no answers to this movie. There's only observations.
Yeah, exactly. But I like that when we get introduced to Hans Gruber, like, the first time we really hear him talk.
Yes.
Is that he's... Well, sorry, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of him getting away...
Yes.
Like, his think, which is showing like this isn't like inside his training. He's trying to
Yes.
get back and figure out what even he can do.
True. Yeah, he's a detective. He's not equipped for this.
Exactly. But then we get to actually introduce to Hans Gruber. And the way he talks about Nakatomi
Mm-hmm.
and how it feels like they are such a power grubby company.
Yeah, it makes them feel very villainous without having to do anything.
Yeah, it's a little suspicious as Takagi immediately jumps to them wanting hostages over their other projects. Like
True.
when they're talking about the models and everything, it's just like, are you wanting this for this project? We swear this is all we were planning to do. Like, it feels like the Nakatomi Corporation has some maybe ulterior motives in some of their projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I do like this building of tension while he's trying to figure out who Takagi is, or which one of the few Asian people in this is Takagi.
True.
It's the way he looks down on others, too, of like, I'm a little bit better than you, look how smart I am. He feels a little bit Light Yagami-ish.
Yes. Oh, 100% Death Note referenced, yes.
Yeah.
No, I completely see it, because he paints a picture of understanding that we now have two bad guys, and you do quickly hate both.
Yeah.
But he feels so snooty and so rude about his bad guyness. You're like, well, you're extra bad.
Yes.
And I somehow hate you more, even though that really doesn't make sense.
But I think it's also in the casual way he addresses him of like, just, hello, like this is a normal business transaction.
And not, taking hostages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what makes Gruber so terrifying.
True.
Is that he is so nonchalant and one killing people, taking hostages, that it's the cold, calculated businessman that makes him more terrifying than just being a regular old terrorist.
That's true. That is very true. It's very upsettingly distant.
Very much so. And then also having us show that they're bringing in guided missiles to show they really mean business.
Yeah, this is this part where we kind of go from like believable heist with an unbelievably rich company to, okay, you're both ridiculous.
Yeah,
this is unnecessary.
Well, so that, speaking of the unnecessaries, this is where I had some observations about the building.
Yes, I do too.
This is to show how powerful or how wealthy the Nakatomi Corporation is. They have an entire room leading up to his office to show off cool models and what is otherwise a useless room in of grandeur in this building, because I studied office buildings for a year in college.
Of course.
Office buildings are almost all the time designed for efficiency and renting the space to make money, especially in the Americas.
Especially in LA.
Yeah, where land is very expensive. I'm not going to get into European architecture because that's it's different. It's a little bit different, but
yeah, no, here every square foot is money, so you want to make the most of every square inch.
Yeah, and that's why we build up. That's the weird dichotomy of our architecture versus like European office architecture.
True.
Is Europeans spread out their offices because of human right laws where you have to be 25 feet at most from a window.
I wish.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely.
You work from home.
I sit literally inches from a window.
Yeah, so do I. But whereas like American architecture is about 45 feet, and then even then it's like
there's a lot of rules you can squish around to get farther away.
Everything's built for efficiency. So that's why like this room is so interesting to see. One, it's cool, and it also gives them time to talk about the company history and what the potential backings of what Gruber is there for. Oh,
absolutely. But also the placement of this room tells you a lot about the villainous like nature of the company itself too. Mm-hmm. Because this isn't in the lobby where like, oh, we're greeting someone and like, oh, look at all of our stuff, which is a fairly common like big business thing to do, right?
Yeah, how much they've diversified or quote unquote conquered. Because they even bring that up when he's talking to McClane is like, well, you beat us in the war, but we beat you in I forget what product they're selling. They're selling like radios or something.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because honestly, the product doesn't matter. This is kind of a standard practice for any industry, right?
The product does matter a little bit in this one because it's showing how they've diversified. They've built civic projects. They're doing oil drills. They're doing water purification centers. Like, they're not just in the product business.
No,
they're conquering all these other different fields. So that's where it's continuing that idea of Japanese imperialism through this company.
No, I 100% agree. But instead of having that be where most companies would have placed it, which would be the front lobby for any Joe Blow to see when they walk in, even the delivery dude, this one, you have to go through all of that, get to offices, get to almost the main guy, and then you get to see it. This feels like intentional bragging.
Very much so. And it's also a way to show that through their conversations, that Gruber isn't just a common thug, that he has a similar pedigree, for lack of a better word, to Takagi, where he's like, oh, I had those suits, oh, those colleges and whatnot. He is clearly...
like, he's one of,
he's an elite criminal.
Which, honestly, is the more fun type of criminal if we're going to have him in a movie.
And then I like this, even a shift where what originally feels like, I mean, it's still a robbery, but it felt like more of a simple hostage situation, where...
True.
It makes it more complicated because he's there for their bearer bonds. It changes from terrorism to just a bunch of thieves, basically.
Yeah, but it does still manage to feel elevated in a way that I don't think, without having all this other stuff happen first, I think if them just coming and be like, we want your money, it would not have had the same height in the, like, criminal movie world.
Or even depth to the movie, too, because otherwise it would just make them simple thieves.
True, no, this proves that they have thought this well enough to be like, they're untraceable, we can spend them anywhere, and we know you have a shit ton of them.
Exactly. And I also like that while this is building, John is trying to be so stealthy.
And, okay, here is something that I do appreciate. While the continuity of this movie is bad at most of the times. Because they didn't have a plan, so thus costuming didn't know what was going to be on who.
Okay.
So when I say continuity-wise, I mean little details in the background don't line up, no one cares. Costuming-wise, Bruce goes from being very dirty to clean next scene, because unfortunately no one told costuming that they were doing this scene.
Maybe he had some wet wipes.
Maybe he had wet wipes in that air duct, who knows?
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter.
No.
Because the details that do matter are more interesting.
Yes.
Not necessarily better, just more interesting.
Yeah, like Gruber when he takes off the silencer, he's not hiding his intentions anymore. Whereas like getting into the building, yeah, you do the silencer so you can infiltrate. But now he's doing this to send a message.
Exactly.
Because it's just a cold killing to show he means business and won't fuck around and is a man of his word, which in a way makes him a little bit of like this noble killer.
It makes him more threatening than an average movie bad guy.
Yeah, well, instead of like pulling the gun away at 3 or shooting next to him, he's like, nope, you didn't, I counted to 3, dead.
And that is something that truly does put Die Hard in a different level for a lot of these sorts of kind of action movies that were not really meant to be like hardcore adult movie, but not truly a soft family action film either. There's a lot of like true violence in this film.
Yeah, well, and this also is a way to get John into this. Okay, this is a life and death situation for me and my wife.
Exactly.
And at the same time, John making that noise puts pressure on Gruber's group because now there is a loose thread that they don't have a handle on.
And that's going to bother them even more because they are German.
Hey. Yeah, I
it's
know.
a terrible joke, but it's clearly one that they're like, well, it works. It works in this movie. Yeah. They have to have all of the things accounted for, except for the man in the air ducts. He's in the walls.
Yeah, I don't have much to say there. But I do like that even though we have this, like, oh, we just had this serious moment, we have to have Argyle's blissful ignorance of Takagi getting killed to add that just little bit of lightness to, like, lessen the tension just a little bit.
Truly.
As well as, like, even then it's like, okay, well, now we have other stuff building with the bombs and everything. So there's this lot of...
They do keep adding layers.
Exactly. As we've ticked off, like, okay, he's taken off his socks. That's one element we don't need anymore. But it's going to relate later on.
True. And it does nicely continuously build the explosion capabilities for this movie. Because something that they wanted very much, granted they were asked not to destroy the building, But they knew from the beginning that they wanted this to have the big blockbuster explosions that they're in the 80s you're used to seeing. At the moment, we've only introduced guns and a few rockets. That's not big enough. Having them just find it in the building's kind of stupid. So layering up and getting closer and closer to these big, more action-adventure scenes at the end really makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and it also like makes the plan much, much darker than
True.
what we're originally seeing here of like, oh, he's just here for the barrel bombs.
Yeah, that's true.
And then even like seeing the vault is cool too.
The vault is cool.
But it's also, we have that, again, bit of classic music, but dark.
The music is very good in this movie, despite it being a weird mix between action and Christmas.
Yes, very much so. And I like that even like while McClane still escapes, I like that he's still trying to figure out what he can even do. Because he's like asking, why didn't you ask? And then he reminds himself, you'd be dead, which shows like...
Yes, he's thinking it through.
Well, it's not just that he's thinking it through, but he's also building up what, us for an audience, what an impossible task this is going to be. They have machine guns, and he has...
a lighter. No socks.
No, he doesn't even have a lighter.
You're right, he doesn't even have the lighter yet.
He only has a pistol.
He has a pistol and no socks.
Yep, exactly. But he is also thinking on his feet.
True.
When he sets off the fire alarm, I like that they still have a working fire alarm system.
That is fun, especially for an in construction building.
Yeah.
Interesting touch.
Which they gotta remove and reinstall with the once they put the drywall up.
We're not going to talk about the fact that there's also no ceilings installed in a lot of the rooms that have the fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, just don't worry about it.
But it's a way to give his location away, and then like not everything's going as planned like he wants it to. And like they do a good building of like a lot of these elements of like when Dahmer leaves the elevator and the camera pans with him.
Yes, it's very good.
Yeah, to the drywall. And it's like, oh, of course this is the only place he can be behind. And then he comes around shooting, and it's just showing that, like, it's a way of, like, false leading us. And then especially when the tools go off, like, there's a lot of, like, little elements of, like, just the way the camera moves, and we follow Dahmer through his journey to find McClane.
No, honestly, that's one of the things that Die Hard does so well is its camera shots.
Yeah.
They're interesting. They keep the movie moving, and it honestly adds a lot of the suspense that if we filmed it almost any other way, we would lose a lot of that tension. Oh,
very much so. And like, even then, we learn little bits about McClane through little dialogue. Where it's like, this exchange of lines, you won't hurt me. Why not? Because you're a policeman, and there are rules for a policeman. Yeah, that's what my captain keeps telling me.
Yes.
And that right there, going from our perceived idea of McClane just being any old beat cop detective, turning him into a more of a Dirty Harry style cop,
which I love. Again, playing off of a lot of preconceived cop ideas, so we kind of now know what sort of stereotype we're looking at, and we can just run with it.
Yeah, well, and it also shows like even his first kill is a bit of an accident. I mean, he's not an anti-terrorist guy. He is still just a cop, even if he is a Dirty Harry style cop.
No, it's very much if it wasn't for him and his wife being in this situation, he would have let the FBI handle this.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that while all this is going on, we have that start of the countdown, basically, with the first lock being bypassed.
Yes, I love a countdown in an action film because it keeps us moving.
Exactly. And there's also like that little bit of humor, too, that keeps it light, too, of like, he finds the one guy who has feet smaller than his sister.
Yes. And there is a nice playoff for these, because honestly, there's a lot of reoccurring jokes in Die Hard. And I appreciate that some of them are light and not actually like a joke, it's just a character is stupid and they don't kill him immediately. Or it's something like this where it just kind of keeps coming back.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's plot and sometimes it's just a silly.
Well, okay, so there's something with that too. So I had some thoughts going into this of like, okay, well, how can I argue that this is a Christmas movie?
Sure.
And like, or well, maybe like first time rewatched, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this isn't as much of a Christmas movie as I remembered. But the Santa set up at the construction floor felt a little bit weird to me. But as McClane is building up his confidence and making quote-unquote good moves and fighting back a little bit, he almost becomes this personification of the Christmas drama movie of just wanting to get back to his wife and save the day.
True.
Because it's not just that. There's little holiday jingle bells accompanying all these actions, or a little bit of some type of Christmassy tune whenever something like that happens.
One might argue a Christmas spirit.
Yes, no, exactly. It's like the spirit of Christmas is fighting, the Christmas portion of this movie is fighting back. But it wasn't this scene specifically. It was one a little later on that I think is a little bit more of a joke.
Sure.
But there were other scenes that had that build up to it. No. And it's such a subtle way to do it too.
Oh no, I completely agree. And I know some of the people who worked on this film argue up and down that no, it's not really a Christmas film. It never was. I don't know. I feel like if it wasn't, we wouldn't have had this many references to Christmas.
Well, and also the director specifically said
it's a Christmas film.
Yeah, it was always intended to be a Christmas movie.
He wanted this to be a Christmas film. He just didn't want to have to decorate a palm tree. And I understand. That seems hard.
Yeah, very much so. Again, but that's the thing is like that's what makes it the part of the Christmas movie is McClane is just trying to get back to his wife, bringing people together, and that's why when he's making the right moves and fighting back, it's Christmas tunes.
And one might argue that all he wants for Christmas is some shoes. And that's another classic Christmas trope.
At this point, yeah. But I do like when we cut back to Gruber is that he just casually drops Takagi's death on everyone.
Oh yeah, seems to not care.
Yeah, well, it's a way to. It's not that he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't. But it's the cold and calculated way to spread his version of terror of trying to figure out who's going to be the next in charge to get what he. Well, he doesn't need that anymore. They've already got the code. They're already trying to bypass the locks and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's just his way to show that. I will kill you if you step out of line.
Oh, absolutely. And it eliminates this from being a potentially two bad guy fight-off to down to, no, it's just him. He is the only bad guy you need to worry about. And for a movie like Die Hard, where honestly we have a lot of other moving parts to worry about here, just having one bad guy is enough.
Yeah.
We really don't need two anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And the building up of like their panic as well when Dahmer's body drops through or opens up through the elevator.
Very dramatic.
It serves as not just a message that he is a threat to them, but it also tells Holly that John is in action and there's Christmas bells. A Christmas movie fighting back.
Again,
ho,
Christmas
ho, ho.
Miracle.
Yes.
That guy's dead.
Santa just sending the messages of ho ho ho, I have a machine gun now.
You know, that is a different Christmas movie, but it exists.
There's one on my list I kind of want to get to called Down the Chimney with a Shotgun.
Hell yeah.
But it's also showing in this scene that John it's showing his detective side of
He's
him,
definitely a thinker.
Yeah, listening in them, gathering intel. But there's also that good tension of like, while he's good in some regards, he almost gets killed by the elevator.
A couple of times.
Yeah. And I also do like that there again the little bits of humor of this movie where he pauses to look at the pinups by the junction boxes.
They just cannot help themselves.
Yeah, tits. Most men are distracted by tits.
True.
Yeah, but I also like that there's this building tension within the group, within Gruber's group, where
the bad guys are getting restless.
Well, it's not the other bad guys are getting restless. Dahmer's brother is out for revenge now because he's like, oh, I have to go kill him. And it's like, no, we have to put the plan first. We're not at a point where I can let you loose on this. And then also Ellis starting to put his hope in the criminals. Like, oh, well, McClane, without him, we'd be out of this already.
An interesting choice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, we can't stop that. McClane's already putting a wrench in the gears, and, I mean, he's justifiably upset, and all he's barefoot, especially like when it's calling into 911, or like, no, the special police airline.
Yeah.
And, like, the operator's giving zero fucks until there's gunshots.
Yeah, again, though, it feels like the most 80s response they could have picked. And while Die Hard is timeless in a lot of ways, its aggressive use of 80s tactics really does make it like, it could not exist in any other time. Because, yeah, like, this feels right for a movie that's based off of the idea of TV cops. So, like, yeah, not being too phased until we are actually in true distress for the call person. That seems to track.
Yeah, very much so. And I do like the way the movie repositions itself from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like gives you back a second.
Well, while the Nakatomi Plaza has been taken hostage, their Christmas movie has been taken hostage.
It has.
On the outside world, Powell is, as we get introduced to him, is singing Christmas tunes while he's called in.
He's having a great day, honestly.
Yeah, casual while McClane is fighting for his life.
It's the duality of it works so well, because even though he is a little bit of a silly character, he's not truly just comedic. He's just not living in the, like, terrifying experience that everyone else is. He's outside doing his own thing.
No.
Completely normal.
Exactly. Completely normal, and to the point where, like, while he's being holly and jolly, McClane has these very great looks of terror while he's being hunted down.
Yes. Very true.
And honestly, this Shaft, this is
great.
This is the scene where the idea of, like, oh, the Christmas movie is fighting back through McClane. It was the little jingle of the bells that came out after he came back through that junction and saw the posters, and he's like, ladies. Yes. And then there's, like, little jingle of, like, okay, he's making the right idea of fleeing when he could have been fighting back.
Exactly.
But even then, like, I like that they push him into more and more corners. Like, the plan is just to trap him and call it a day. Great part from
Yeah, that's
Gruber.
a good plan.
But Dahmer's brother there's also a couple little things here, too, where, like, yeah, it's a good plan because he loses his machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
And the iconic ductwork scene of, oh, we'll get together, we'll have a few laughs.
True.
Dahmer's brother disobeying Gruber and looking down the shaft puts him again in danger.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Again, and he also picked up the lighter from his brother, so, like, there's those couple little bits of, like, okay, the lighter that he needed comes back into play.
Exactly.
They really did a good job with Chekhov's gun through every single aspect of this movie.
And by this point, a lot of the stunts, granted, there were stunt doubles for everyone in this movie, obviously, but Bruce Willis agreed to do a lot of these stunts himself, which was kind of a bold move, seeing as 1983 Twilight Zone really changed how the industry wanted to treat stunts and stunt people.
Yeah.
It really moved the idea from the stunt for the movie's sake versus the actor for the movie's sake.
Well, even before that, I mean, we had some producer's kid was involved in some movie and got shot and killed because back in the day they didn't have blanks. Or they didn't have the gunpowder effects that we have now.
Yeah.
And they had professional sharpshooters.
Yeah, not a great idea.
Yeah.
Don't love that. But it was interesting to see that Bruce Willis, of course, being a movie that he was ready to, like, see as his breakout film, was ready and willing to do a lot of these stunts that we see. But not all of them. There was still plenty of stunt guys who still had a lot of hard issues with this movie. There was a lot of very dangerous stunts that happened.
And yet Alan Rickman still did his own big stunt. Once.
Twice.
He had to do it once. They had the director do it first. He only did it once from what I saw.
Okay, we'll get to it.
Okay. But, I mean, even with all the stunts and whatnot, I think there are some really good writing bits to this too, where things are kind of turning Gruber's luck around up until now, with Powell showing up a little bit ahead of time.
True.
And I do like that throughout this movie, if he can avoid it, McClane is trying not to kill people.
True. But he doesn't have a hard rule on that, that's for sure.
I mean, he does when he has to. But I like that it's this interesting contrast between he's hesitant to kill, but the others aren't. And then Powell on the other side, he doesn't get all the way through the lobby where he would have been killed. He's just like, nah, this isn't my job. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like a very typical cop of that era, or a stereotypical cop of that area of, like, if it's not really their job to do it, they didn't really want to do anything with it. So we see that a lot in true crime.
Yeah, the 80s were a wild time.
Yeah.
But they made for interesting movies.
Yeah, very much so. But here's the other thing too, is like when when McClane throws the body down and the dipshits open fire on Argyle, there's a jingle of the Christmas bells again.
Yes, the Christmas bells of death keep showing up.
Yeah, and another average Joe pulled in. So these are kind of like the two, I mean, probably
Christmas miracles.
the two Christmas heroes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And even then, while we have all these other elements building, they still build some other drama with the news people hearing about what's being called in, and just one interruption after another that, while most of this is going to his plan,
it's starting to add up.
It starts to unravel pretty quickly when you get to that one goal. And I do like that it's taken us so long for them to finally communicate.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But it kind of works. Again, this movie could not have been set in any other time than the late 1980s.
No. Well, there's that interesting bit too where he's dropping the names of the people to show that he's more of a pain in their side than they thought he was previously. They just thought he's a guy with a machine gun.
Exactly.
But I also like that he's clearly being very cautious and not giving everything away, because while he knows that the others can, like, the cops are listening in now, he also can't reveal that he's a cop to them because it makes him even more of a target than just a rogue agent, basically.
Yeah.
And I do think it's funny where Gruber's character is calling him out as being a brainwashed American because of all he's seen in the movies, and
he's a cop.
Yeah, and this is an action movie that changed the perception of what an average Joe could be.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. How ironic.
And that all famous line, "Yippie Ki Yay, motherfuckers."
Gold.
Yeah. Yeah, and even then, like, I think it's funny that while they're fighting, the news channels have their infighting too.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's starting to, like, add a lot of elements to make the movie start to feel more fast and more chaotic without having the actual villain or our hero be the thing causing it. Yeah. So having all of this background noise from the other cops, from now the news agents, having all of the extra stuff happening starts as the audience to make us feel like, oh, things are really building here.
Well, and it also starts putting pressure on McClane and Gruber because, okay, well, maybe his plan's not going as well as he thought. And then on top of that, McClane, no one's trusting him. They don't believe he's an actual cop.
I don't blame him. He's in an air duct with a lighter with no shoes.
Yeah, to be fair, they don't know what's going on. They don't even know who he is because he can't drop who he is.
And on top of that, he's not from here. He's from New York.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like any of them are going to recognize him.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think in this era cops were still really communicating across...
No, we were not yet communicating across even county lines.
Yeah, not even state lines.
Not across the entire country, that's for damn sure.
Yeah. But again, this movie comes back to Christmas fighting back as he starts finding the detonators.
Yep.
And he starts dropping all the information to Powell, giving him, like, hey, this guy has become his confidant, where we have, like, a little bit of a buddy cop element to this movie,
not even a little bit. I would argue that man thinks they are truly buddies by the end of this.
They're brothers in arms, but I wouldn't call them buddy cops at this point.
Not in the traditional sense, no.
Not in the traditional sense. And that's the great thing about this movie and breaking those molds, is because of how it's set up, it allows it to have all these elements of different movies.
Exactly.
And it still feels natural without being, okay, I shoved a bunch of genres together.
Exactly.
And it's also because the way he's cueing himself in that he's a cop is because he knows Gruber's listening, where he's, like, dropping some lingo, but not, like...
enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's smart.
Yeah, but it's enough to make the cops suspicious, because it's another way to build the tension that everyone is kind of infighting, except for McClane and the hostages as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the way they build the tension also is it puts Holly in direct contact with Gruber as the mediator between them and the hostages. And that's the other weird thing too, that maybe not weird thing, but thing that makes Gruber interesting is that we've just seen him kill a man in cold blood, and we know where this movie is going and what he plans to do with them, he allows them to bring out a couch for a pregnant woman to make us feel that he's a villain, but not a monster.
It's so smart in re-raising him up again out of that, like, low-life villain scum. It makes him feel smarter and more devious than, honestly, he probably really is.
Yeah, because it also shows that he's not overly smart. She looks at the photos behind him, at specifically the one that's turned down, and he doesn't notice that one's turned down.
Yes.
It's that one little bit that is a thorn in his side up until like the very last 20 minutes of the movie.
And it also starts playing off of the pretentiousness that his character starts doing, where he starts humming, I think it's Beethoven's Second or something like that.
Yeah, everything's going as according to his plan.
Exactly.
But it's also, again, the way the movie's written, it's a good way to bring back that fight between the maiden name back into like, okay, it's working out in their favor. She doesn't have the name McClane.
Exactly.
He doesn't notice the photos turned down. It's all just that little elements of building.
And it's the details that were already in this film. Again, the continuity details, not great. But the details that matter, superb.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can overlook some of those continuity issues.
Honestly, most of us did until nearly 10 to 15 years after this movie came out. And then people started watching it comb by comb.
Or Amazon tells you, hey, there's a mix-up here.
Yes, which, again, takes someone watching this movie so many times, it kind of is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I also like while we've had all this tension building between all the different factions, it's now finally Argyle's humor moment to notice that nothing's going right because he has a radio.
Yeah.
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 Finally.
Finally. It's about time.
And then even then with the cops, how they're trying to like shrug all this off. Where the body that fell on Powell's car is like, oh, it's probably some stockbroker that got depression.
It's like the stupidest thing they could have thought up, and yet the most 80s thing that could have been added to this movie.
Yeah, and honestly, like that's the cops don't know what's going on. I mean, that's the kind of humor that we expect from that kind of movie.
That's true, but also this is again redirecting our idea of an action film, especially an 80s one, where normally the cops would either come in completely blazing and ready to have this standoff happen. You know, helicopters would have already been here. Or there are no cops in that universe. Those are kind of the only two versions of 80s movies we had up until this point.
Yeah, and also, like, we have that interjection of Christmas again with McClane using the Christmas story to give away intel.
Yes, very clever.
And then when the LAPD tries to take over the building.
Oh, LAPD.
I like that there's this bit of, okay, we're going to show our skills in control of the situation by just wounding them, but then having
succeeds in not doing that at all.
Yeah, because they use the missiles to show how serious they are to push past the police to get that GTA 5-star FBI involved.
It really does feel like a GTA sort of situation.
And like, while that feels like it's going well, McClane dropping that chair bomb on them.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And again, remember, we technically didn't have all of this finished writing out and figure out what was going to explode when we started this movie.
Yeah.
So, they had explosives and they went, how can we add them to the movie?
Yeah, I like that. I hope Nakatomi has terrorist insurance.
Yeah.
And like, there's a bunch of other stuff too where we get the information that, oh, he's an ex-member of or Gruber is an ex-member of a terrorist group.
I would argue he's not ex.
No, he's formed his own. He's no longer associated with them. The German Volksfrei movement, which is free people movement.
Sure. I would argue you don't get to be ex-terrorist if you're actively terroristing.
Ex-member of that group.
Okay.
Ex-member of that group.
That works.
And I like that even like Powell's being an asshole back to the cops, or to the other cops too. Like, he's
True.
Justifiably.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
Yeah. And man, the scene that is not the hardest, but while Ellis is a bit of an asshole, he is such a victim of his own stupidity.
True.
That like, he is promising shit he doesn't have. And it makes it feel like, comparatively to the wife.
Yes,
Holly,
yeah.
that he doesn't have business savvy in the first place.
Like, maybe he's propping himself up on his employees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And like, the way he's I think part of the reason why he gets killed is not that he can't deliver what he promises.
Mm-hmm.
Gruber treats this as a business transaction, and he is being
100%.
so buddy with him of like, Hans, baby. Like
that's how he's done all his deals before, too.
Exactly.
Whereas Hans has done some more cut and dry deals, one might argue. A little less personable.
Yeah. But it's also a good way to build tension with McClane and the cops where he's like, dude, don't listen. I don't know him. I just met him today. Ignore everything he's saying. He can't get you in on this. And it's that pressure that like gives the cops reason to not trust him any further, is because, oh, he killed this guy, or he got this guy killed, whereas Powell is like, what are you guys talking about? He's doing everything he can. He's been in there this entire time, and
exactly.
That guy obviously wasn't listening, so.
Yep. It's an interesting way of having all of that unravel.
Uh-huh. And I do like that while the things seem to be closing in on Gruber and his group, his demands spread confusion and buying time of just like, oh, I want all these other people freed too, is like...
Yeah. It feels like both over the top, but also in a way like it's being clever for extra's sake.
Very much so. And like to the point where he thinks he's won it, where it's like, it's Christmas, it's time for miracles.
I mean, he has a good point. The Jingle Bells have led us to believe that.
Uh-huh. And also, he's so comfortable where he's at, he's sent Fritz to go sick out McClane and build pressure, because now it makes it supposed to feel like he's running out of options to take care of their stray creature stirring.
Yes, I like that they treat him like a raccoon.
Mm-hmm. Very, very much so. And like, I thought this was a little bit dumb initially, but bringing in the experts to calling bullshit of like, okay, well, here's Ellis's psychology of like why he was doing this, but it makes it more realistic of like, okay, he felt like, okay, at this point, the terrorists were friends with him, of like, he could have gotten away with something.
Yeah, well, and also remember, the 80s psychology, especially criminal psychology, was a pretty big and like entertained topic for most people. So having that worked in at all in the movie makes a lot of sense. It would have been something that people would have been doing without the movie. So having it just kind of tied in makes everything feel a little bit more well thought through.
It's to give an explanation to the uninformed.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing with this movie too, is the comedy that they build up with the FBI taking over and Powell telling the head cop that, do you want a breath mint because he's an ass kisser now?
Yeah, it's very funny. It's a good line. Gonna put it in my back pocket.
Yeah, very much so. And even like while Fritz has been sent out, Gruber is still on the ground hunting stuff out. And I like his switch in characters. I do have some questions.
Maybe.
Do you think John is stringing him along because he's suspicious, or he saw him in the elevator from above?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because did he really see the face, or did he hear the voice, and the voice isn't that off from Gruber's?
That's a really good question, and I do not know.
I think he's just fucking with him because he wants to see what Gruber's game is to maybe get a little bit more intel.
You know, I think I'm siding with you there on that, because while I could see the argument for the elevator, it doesn't play with the rest of how this movie has thought itself.
No. Well, and also I think part of it is also the camera angle too, because they use the Dutch angle to like make it slightly off kilter. And
also we've been proven that the camera is willing to show the audience just a hair more than what maybe our villains see.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like, it's that little bit of moment where like McClane is that's the thing, is I do think McClane is just messing with Gruber at that point, because
I can see it.
He even gives him a gun that's unloaded.
That is true. That is very true. Merry Christmas. Here's your gun.
Yeah, pretty much. And I do like that while on the other side of this, I think it fits well because McClane seems like he's trying to gather information from Gruber. Powell is now giving the information to the FBI, because they're there to get the job done and not pussy a foot around like the LAPD.
Which I do love that, once again, 80s cop show / movie style, we have brought in the faction between local cop and FBI, and how they cannot work together.
No, and not even just that, but different police forces not working together, where the upper brass of the cops are trying to, like, we don't know who this guy is. They're trying to keep their distance from McClane because he's a rogue agent.
And the inevitable option is just blow it all up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that is the way to do it, because, like, well, maybe not the way to do it.
They had the budget for it, so they were gonna.
Yeah, but back to, like, a little bit of the action and the building of Chekhov's gun is when they decide to shoot the glass, because they have him cornered. They have the numbers on him still, technically. And they're forcing McClane to either choose between the environmental damage of walking on the broken glass or face death.
A trying choice, and one that honestly we all saw kind of coming, but it feels rewarding and like a good payoff, despite the fact that from the moment he loses his shoes, we all go, he's gonna have to step on something, isn't he?
Yeah. And even when he does start getting back on track, there's no bells to it, because he's not really fighting back. He's technically
cooperating.
On the run.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of an outburst to give his wife hope.
Exactly.
Even then, there's like, they have, even when we've had like the serious bit of damage, there's that good bit of going back to comedy of betting on himself with Powell, of like, the cops are having bets on whether he'll make it out alive or not.
I do appreciate that.
And that he's constantly making fun of Powell's driving as well.
Yeah, well, we find out later that you can't blame him.
Well, it's a good moment to give Powell more of a character of, like, he put his gun down, because that's why he's a beat cop, is because he shot a kid. So it's the way they build up some of these side characters is
honestly really smart.
Yeah, it's really smart, because it's like, okay, it's not just his outside man. They have something in common, that they were unprepared for all this, and they're both a bit of fuck-ups.
And he's not just some silly. Like, he gets more backstory than just, a guy and it's Christmas. And thus silly.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's a fully fledged character that we get little bits of, little drips of his story as we keep cutting back to him.
Yeah, and it's a nice way to build a side character, and also to give us a reprieve from the action, because
especially since the side character's not even in the same building as this guy.
No, he's in the same area.
Well, he's next door, but
not even next door. He's just outside.
He's in the parking lot.
Yeah, in close proximity.
Yeah,
same property.
Yeah, I guess so. He's no Robin to Batman, that's for sure. He's too far away.
No. But even then, like, all these little bits that we feel like are stray elements, when the FBI cuts the final circuit, and then just like that real dark Christmas movie, and it's like, oh, this was the plan all along, of like, you cut the power and at the right time and we're in.
Exactly. Smart. Again, it's smart.
And weirdly, the music gets bright for their win.
Yeah, I mean, you do feel a little bit like, well, maybe now that they have what they want, they'll leave. You know that's not true, but you have so few things to, like, hope at, right, in this movie? Because, truthfully, like, if you're looking at it, Bruce Willis's character doesn't have a whole lot of options for how to save the day.
No.
Man has a lighter and no shoes.
Yeah, so, and his feet are bloody as hell.
Yeah, and his feet aren't looking great, so, like, he's not gonna, like, be coming in hot saving everybody, so that's out. Maybe this sophisticated, nice man will just leave. Well,
again, it goes back to the mystery of the bombs or the explosives and why Gruber was on the roof.
Yeah, true.
Because McClane does ask, why was he on the roof? Because that is a weird thing for the leader of this group to be out doing the footwork like that.
Very true.
And we have, like, this moment of heartfeltness where McClane is like, hey, say this to my wife because I'm a failure of a husband. If I don't make it out of this. And then there's also hope because he needs it himself too, of like, he is really in a tight corner of he's most likely not getting out of this.
Absolutely.
But then we know things are not going to go well for McClane because, man, the news being just scumbags after finding out who he is and
just plastering him.
Using the kids to grab emotional damage.
Yeah, so rude.
And I like that the detonators are kind of there for a good distraction. in that we get that really good fight with Fritz, but
Mm-hmm.
man, is his hanging brutal. Like,
Oh, no, absolutely. But it's one of those things that sets this movie apart.
mhm.
Because while this movie isn't terribly family friendly, one would argue that it's not crazy violent. It's got some moments, but you cover your eyes real quick, you're good to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a couple of these shocking scenes. And it kind of grounds the movie back down from being like a fun action movie to, no, there's some weight here. There's meant to be consequences tied to these actions.
Oh, very much so, because like while McClane's been taking these guys out one by one, it's that oh shit moment when Gruber realizes who he's dealing with and loses his cool that really starts putting them all in danger of like, okay, maybe this isn't going to end happy for them, and like, 'cause
exactly,
this guy's messed up his plans a little bit too much. And it's not that he's killed these other men, it's that he's messed up his plans.
Ugh, how rude. I can't believe.
And that's the thing where like when we start realizing that it was all screwed from the start, and that the niceties of him was very surface level, and that he was planning to blow all the hostages up to get out.
Exactly. He was never actually nice.
Yeah, 100% making him a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And like the FBI, and then also the FBI, the way they pair that with the FBI being willing to lose 20 to 25 hostages also makes them they're the lesser of the evils, but it's still pretty messed up.
Oh, absolutely.
And just making them shitty compared to McClane trying to get everyone out that he can.
Oh, no, absolutely. This really helps I know that they didn't want to have a movie where the main guy is the hero in the traditional sense, but they managed to, by the end of this, turn him into a hero by having him care about the people.
Yes, exactly. And also, when at the end, that's the interesting thing with Gruber is that while he's been cold and calculated up until now, once he finds out who McClane is and makes it personal, his actions feel more and more desperate because he's working on his emotions. And while all the other deaths were calculated and necessary to him.
Yep. Not this one, though.
No, this one becomes personal.
Exactly.
And I like this final dive into action. I mean, the chaos and force to save the hostages and the hose escape is very good. I mean, even Gruber's willing to sacrifice his own men for all of this, but honestly, McClane is doing a better job of saving anyone that he can.
That's true.
And also, like, don't get me wrong, cool jumping from explosion.
So cool.
But there's also an interesting bit of him sliding when the fire hose mount comes off.
Yeah.
He's not sliding because it's so heavy. One, that is true, but
sure,
he's also on tatami mats.
Slippery.
And loose. They're not affixed to anything. So his weight on it is also pulling them away. So like he's not on firm ground. It's a nice combination.
That is a nice touch. Yeah,
combination of classic and modern design.
And also a reference back to our earliest architecture and design models from the building. Mm-hmm. Very clever.
Yeah. But also this scene makes the FBI guys even more nefarious than we were thinking, because they're
you get so fed up of seeing the FBI guys.
Well, and a bunch of their guys die, and they're like, we're going to need more FBI guys, I guess. It's like,
alright, well, that's great.
Yeah, human lives are just statistics for them.
Yes.
And also, as McClane is fighting back, there's a bit of Christmas music when he sees the holiday tape.
True.
And I also like that while Argyle's been trapped in the basement, and we've constantly gone back to him for comedic relief, his foiling of the escape plan makes him not just some side character, but an important character to the rest of the plot. He's not just the comedic relief, he's there to serve some type of purpose.
And I like that while he is not just the comedic relief, he is still comedic at times. It helps break up what is now becoming incredibly tense.
Especially this final showdown between Bloody John and the two robbers left.
One Fabio remains.
Christmas chimes giving indication that it's going to go well, as the Christmas spirit is kind of guiding him.
Yeah, the Christmas ghosts of Christmas now, past, and future are here to help.
And just laughing like a crazy man, and the bells to reveal that he's got the gun hidden behind him and taped to his hand.
So classic.
Yeah, it's so great.
It's very good.
Yeah, leading to that classic, like he kills the last Fabio guy, and just the hanging of like the cue, you've heard me bitch about for years slow motion.
I know, but this is like the perfect moment.
Yes, exactly. Because it's not just that. It's that little bit of like the moment of like he has his moment where he's holding on to the wife's arm and he's bringing the gun up.
Uh-huh.
It's that like, okay, I'm gonna make this personal. If I'm going out, you're going out with me.
Exactly.
And then the shock of like, okay, the shitty watch to that, or not, maybe not a shitty watch, but what was given from I think Ellis gave it to her, or the company gave it to her.
Uh-huh.
I think Ellis gave it to her.
That sounds right.
It's that detachment from this job and like them finally coming together and surviving and just
the Christmas miracle.
Yeah, it is a great scene, and Alan Rickman did fall for real.
He did.
He says someone says it was 75. He said it was 30,
and one stuntman claimed it was closer to 12.
Yeah, the director had to do it first,
fair, because this is a really dangerous stunt.
Yeah, but Rickman in a 2009 Hudson Union Society speech, he said that he didn't remember the counting because everyone's like, oh, he dropped down to... They dropped him at 2 to get that look, which I can believe.
Yeah, I can too.
What he says he remembers, he doesn't remember any of that other than producers giving him some like really worried looks and making sure that that was the last shot he did.
Yes. So that was by far the highest drop, but he did drop a second time from a much lower one, which is where I think maybe the stunt guy's recollection of only 12 coming from.
Yeah.
Partially because the fall was so high that the camera could not, with good accuracy, capture him all the way down. So they did one beforehand where he was much closer, he only had a little ways to go. That way when we get to that final cut of him down and it's like the last land.
Yeah, the big drop.
That's where that shot came from, whereas the one big one, yes, only the one. Thank God he landed on the beanbag correctly. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, the one drop, way too far, but it was so far the camera could not follow it all the way.
Yeah.
So, which is unfortunate because that's kind of why it cuts weird halfway through. Dramatic, very cool, but interesting limitation on the camera.
Yeah, I mean it works.
Yeah, it's so cool looking.
Yeah, and I mean that's the one meme is Christmas. It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from the Nakatomi Plaza.
And honestly, I did see an advent calendar where you move him down a floor every day until Christmas, and I did think that was very funny.
That one's very funny. I saw another one where it's Final Fantasy VII and Sephiroth coming
down. Hell yeah. That one's cool too.
But they kiss and they're safe.
Yay! Christmas miracles!
The buddy cops finally meet up, and honestly, to be fair, all in all, it's just 2 dead hostages, and the wife is using the married name now, so it's kind of a win for him as a cop.
Okay. If we look at this, if we remove the action portion, which I understand is like most of this movie, but if we look at this as what it originally was, which is kind of a Christmas drama-esque that then gets hijacked, she takes his name, she loses the watch of the guy who would have been the rival love interest of the movie.
Yeah.
If he didn't turn out to be dead.
And they did kind of have, technically they had a little bit of drama together, and honestly, in a reversal of roles where they would have been assholes to each other, McClane was doing his damnedest to save his ass.
We have our main character finding the spirit of Christmas and loving his wife again.
Yeah.
They get over their bitchy argument attitudes.
He finds somebody in arms in a different city.
And he's reminded that, oh yes, I do have children and I do love them and don't want them to die.
Yeah, very much so.
So, as much as everyone probably can still continue to argue, I think it hits all of the tropes.
Yeah, very much so. Well, and the one thing I do find weird about the scene is that one terrorist who pops up. It's a good way to wrap up Powell's story because he pulls his gun and he's ready to go.
Yes, well, it gives him something to do.
Well, it also shows that he's willing to move on from his past as well. Like McClane and Holly are moving past their issues on forward. He's able to do so as well.
Yeah, maybe become a real cop again.
Yeah, and the funny little bit of like having to stop him from being trigger happy is good though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also the wife gets some redemption too of punching the news anchors for using their children.
Absolutely, it feels like justified.
Yeah, and they kiss in the limo and it's on the way home with Argyle.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah, I honestly that's the thing is like Die Hard is one of those movies that I I honestly didn't watch until I was out of college.
Honestly though, that's kind of the perfect time to watch it.
I don't know.
I mean, don't be wrong. It's not like this movie is overly adult in any way. I mean, it's by no means like the most family friendly, but it's not the worst, and you can get away with covering some eyes here and there if you feel like you need to.
Yeah, and honestly, the one scene that I could probably see people covering more so than others is the death of Takagi, because of the ones, that one's...
It's very personal.
It's personal, and it's the more bloody of the ones because it's supposed to be that shocking moment in the movie.
And granted, they worked hard to get every drop of blood onto the screen. The original cut was apparently more bloody, and they got told, no, please tone it down. But here's my argument of why I think end of college / out of college is honestly the best time to watch Die Hard.
Okay.
Is because when you're young, and this is coming from someone who watched it young, like this was a classic in our family and especially in our friend group who loved action films and loved horror films, and all the way in high school and even some in middle school, you don't really catch on to the smaller Christmas meanings of Die Hard until honestly you're older.
No, exactly. I think that's part of it too, is that, like, yeah, while watching it younger, it's a fun action movie.
Yeah, you can watch it, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna miss those small details of, like, the romance between our two characters, of the building of the side character and his, like, growth throughout it. Because it's such an action-packed film, and it's very exciting, and it has some good one-liners, and it looks cool, and there's explosions. It's very distracting. Yeah,
just a little, but it's fun, and that's the thing that matters, is that while it has, like, the Christmas charm to it, it adds a little bit of a hiccup in your traditional Christmas formula.
Absolutely, and honestly, that's why people still love this movie and watch it every Christmas. Regardless of whether or not it has Christmas intentions, whether or not the director says it's Christmas, we as a society have agreed that some of us who like action films way more than a Christmas drama or a claymation from the 40s, we're gonna watch Die Hard. And that's, as a group, as a collective, we've all agreed that Die Hard, Christmas reference or not, is a Christmas movie. And that's good enough.
Yeah, so I take it you think Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
I do think Die Hard's a Christmas film, and I'm happy to have heard that the director intended it to be one the whole time. And now that we've done a bunch of research on it, and I've really looked at the musical score and the small details put in, and thought about whether or not if this had been located somewhere with snow, if I would have changed my, thoughts when I was younger, because I used to not think this was a Christmas film. I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, if enough people watch it, it's a Christmas film.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna still stand with, I do think it leans more into the Christmas movie than a lot of people who don't think it is want to admit.
Sure.
But I do think it stands with my opinion that it is a Christmas movie that gets hijacked by a heist movie. That is...
100%.
I think that's going to be my definitive answer for, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes, it is. But it also kind of isn't at times, too.
And Die Hard would be proud to have that title because it is the movie that created the term to die hard. So, to die hard on a boat, to die hard on a plane, which is just Con Air, the movie.
Yeah.
It would be happy to be recognized for what it was, which was a completely new way of having action in a very small space.
Except Con Air, he's a military man.
It doesn't matter. It's the idea of big, impossible action, teeny tiny space.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great turning point of what Die Hard did to the action movie.
It sure did.
So, Chris, good, bad, weird scale, what do you rate Die Hard?
For me, this movie is only good. It has some bad moments, but most of them are really minor. Like I said, the only real big complaints I have is a small continuity errors, which is easy to do when your director and writers don't actually have anything to direct and write planned ahead of time. So I really have very few complaints, even after doing all this research. I think it's just a solid movie. Yeah,
no, I have to agree. I think it's a very good movie. Even if you don't think it's a Christmas movie, you'll still have fun with it.
Absolutely. Just imagine there's snow everywhere and it feels more Christmassy.
Sure. So do you recommend watching Die Hard?
I do. I do recommend watching Die Hard. I would like to remind some of our friends who now have children and are having to remember that there is action and violence in some of these movies that we've all watched for so long. Maybe not for toddlers, But past middle school, you're probably fine. Enjoy it.
Yeah, one of them's afraid of my house whose shirt and it isn't even that scary.
Yeah, and this is something that, like, I've had to personally, like, be like, oh yeah, there is death in this action movie, because I just remember the car chase, or the explosion, or the fun bit. So remember, this one does have a handful of actually brutal scenes, but
yeah,
after middle school, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this one. I mean, it's a classic for a reason.
It's so good.
That's Die Hard. We are saying goodbye to the Christmas season, whether you agree with our take on Die Hard or not. This is probably our last Christmas movie season for a bit. We're a little tired of it, so
do something different. New tradition.
Yeah, well, we'll be taking on the new year, hopefully finding the spirit within.
Absolutely. God.
But, anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the good, the bad, and the weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.